Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. This is Naman. Today we're going to review and unbox Hot Toys Mark III 2.0. Mark III, of course, is the first real MCU Iron Man, seen in Iron Man 1. Mark I and Mark II were the prototypes, but this armor was a proof of concept. Of course, Iron Man 1 was an amazing film. Had some iconic scenes featuring this armor, including multiple scenes fighting militants in Afghanistan. I feel like I've been waiting for this toy for over a decade, not only because I love this armor, but because all previous versions of Mark III have either been too small, wrong color, or not featuring enough diecast by Hot Toys. Finally, we might have some perfection. So let's take it to the light box for a deeper examination to see if it is indeed perfection, and then bring it back out for some fun poses, including these ones. Before we do, hope you can tap that like button and subscribe button to support my young channel. Here we have the front of the box. Looks absolutely gorgeous. I love the red and orange colors. I love the portrait of Iron Man Mark III in the center. And you've got the rocket launcher popped out. You've got the arc reactor lit up. Up top, you have the Sideshow exclusive logo. Down below, you have some branding. It says Movie Masterpiece Diecast, and Hot Toys. In the center, it says Iron Man Mark III 2.0. Of course, this isn't the second version of Iron Man Mark III that Hot Toys has done, but I think this is the second diecast version. On the side of the box, you can see there are two trays. I believe this one carries Iron Man and some of his accessories, and I bet that one has the diorama. Here we have the back of the box. I love the color scheme. I like the fact that you can see Iron Man's silhouette on the top. You also see a lot of warnings, some branding. And finally, we have the other side of the box. And I love that silhouette in the back. Again, that's Iron Man from that scene where he's walking away from the tank. I watch that scene every week. So it's time to unbox this beautiful toy. Hopefully beautiful. Let's find out. So let's unbox the Iron Man toy first, but I just wanted to point out how cool it is that the Iron Man logo is engraved, and you've got the arc reactor, I believe, engraved over here. So that's pretty cool. As usual, very nice and thick box. Hot Toys really wants to protect this item when it's being shipped to you. Oh, I can smell that toxic plastic and glue smell from here, and it smells so good. Yeah, I know I'm a bit silly about that, but anyway. Wow. Inside you've got the Tony Stark head sculpt, battle damage faceplate, completely destroyed Iron Man head, and here's Iron Man himself. I bet this is a collar for the sculpt. And you got 4 hands. On the bottom tray, on top, you have the booklet, which we're going to look at later. And you have some batteries, tweezer, and a screwdriver. In addition, you've got this diorama that looks really good. I can't wait to get that out of the plastic. Flight pole, and a lot of accessories. I always recommend that you read your manual, especially for Iron Man toys, because you want to avoid scratching your paint. You want to know how to get the batteries in correctly. And these are very expensive toys, so you should read your manual. So let's see what's inside. First page tells you how to do the LED light up functions. And that's a bit disappointing because I was hoping this would be a USB powered toy, because this is 2.0. I expected them to make some improvements in that regard, but I guess they haven't. Second page shows you how to add the swap-on parts, how to get the air flaps going, how to change the hand, how to articulate your figure, especially at the waist. Do not excessively rotate the body. So I think it's going to be tough to get that hero pose, but I'm going to try. How to articulate the legs. Assemble the diorama, and it tells you not to drop it on your foot. There you go. And wow, that is a lot of stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with these accessories here, and then we're going to work on to the diorama base, and then the head sculpt. So here are all the batteries that Mark III 2.0 comes with. I'm going to get all of these inside the head and the body, and then we're going to light it up later. Here's the battle damage chest plate. You simply take out the chest plate that's already on the armor and you put this one on. I love how it's painted. I love how it's molded. Looks really nice. Not much detail on the back. But yeah, that's a really nice looking accessory. Shoulder plates are also battle damage. Of course, they go on his shoulders and they complete that battle damage look. And I think they're really nicely painted again. Look at all that wear on them. Very cool. You might remember these weapons. You use them in the scene in Afghanistan when he takes out militants that are holding hostages. And of course, these go on his shoulders. And I like the wear on them again. Nice paint apps by Hot Toys. These air flaps go on the back of the armor. And I really love how they're painted, how they're crafted. Really nicely done. These weapons go on his forearms. And you can tell that's the rocket he fired at the tank. Again, in that scene in Afghanistan. Very nicely crafted again by Hot Toys. Alternatively, you can add these weapons to his forearms. And I think there's a black wash on them. And the paint apps are really good. I also like that they're labeled so you have no confusion about where which piece goes. And there's a lot of detail on them too. It's really cool. Here's the piece that goes under the head sculpt when you need to attach the head sculpt to the armor. Here is a battle damage faceplate, and that's easy to put on the helmet. You just have to take off the original faceplate and add this one. I believe it's magnetic. There you go, a couple of magnets here. And there's some detail at the back too, which is very impressive. Look at the paint apps. Look at the molding. There's so much detail. And there's so much more I feel you can do with plastic in terms of battle damage. Sometimes these die-cast pieces don't seem to lend to battle damage as much or as nicely. But it's absolutely gorgeous. And I guess you put this on the diorama. Very nice wear on the hands. These are the repulsor blaster hands. When you turn the LEDs on in the body, the light shines through these repulsors. And very nicely painted. Here are the hands with the articulated fingers. Always nice to have them. Very nicely painted. You can articulate all of the fingers, all 5 of them. Unfortunately, you can never get a perfect fist with them, but they're still nice to have. Here he is pointing a finger. I think the Ironmonger diorama is quite spectacular. It's gorgeously painted. I love all these dirt effects. Really nicely done. Nice thick plastic. Even this might look fragile, but it's actually quite thick. The only thing I don't like is the eyes. I wish they'd done some translucent plastic. Instead, they just painted it. Looks nice on camera, maybe, but in person, it looks a bit cheap. I'm gonna move the flight pole away. The other concern I have is that there's not enough space here for Mark III to stand. I think the angle is a bit awkward too. So this might go behind Mark III in your display rather than having Mark III on top here. But yeah, this is an excellent effort by Hot Toys. I'm really impressed with this diorama. So here's the Tony Stark sculpt, and it is perfection almost. It's so good. No one does skin tone like Hot Toys. Very, very realistic. Much better than Blitzway or 3-0. They do a really good job with the skin tone. And I like the shadow on his face. I like the blood pouring down from his forehead. Looks like he's just fought Ironmonger. Love the richness in the hair color. Very nice mold. I believe we've gotten part of this sculpt before in another Tony toy, maybe the Tony Stark mechanic toy. But I think that there's been some modification with the hair. Overall, I'm very pleased with the sculpt. I thought it would be interesting to compare Tony's first outing as Iron Man and Tony's last outing as Iron Man. And here he is 10 years later on the right. And you can see there's experience on his face. Both of these sculpts are fantastic. This, of course, is the reissue of the sculpt from Mark 85. And again, both sculpts are great. And Hot Toys has done such a great job showing his youth on the left and his experience on the right. The hair color is a bit different on the right. Maybe he colored his hair when he was older. But yeah, great job by Hot Toys on both of these sculpts. So here we have Mark III 2.0 out of the box, and I absolutely love it. I feel like a child who's just received a present because this is amazing. Mark III has always been one of my favorite armors, It's always been frustrating to not have a good Mark III toy. The last one, the cherry red finish was nice, but it was just a bit too much. I love this darker finish. It almost feels like a matte finish. It's really nice. It's more authentic to the film. And there were some concerns that the proportions were off from the promo shots. The legs seemed a bit too long. However, I've compared this to the stills from the film, and it looks to be really accurate. What I really love about this armor, of course, is its blocky nature. I feel like I like the new armors too. Mark 46 is probably the best balance between the old school armors and the new ones, but I feel like the newer armors were too alien looking, and you can really feel like there's a man inside this Mark III armor. It just has this blocky feel. It feels more authentic to me. I also like the nuts and bolts on top. Top to bottom, this armor feels more like the cartoons, more like the comic books. That's why it's one of my favorites. Side profile just looks like a beast. Amazing. Back is very clean, nice design, nice paint apps, really good attention to detail from the legs to the top. Love those panel lines. I think Hot Toys has done an excellent job here. Look at that. There's some wear on it too. And there's a richness to the color. I feel like it's a bit black, a bit red. It's really nicely done. So it's time to look at the articulation. Head looks up really high. Look at that. That would be beautiful for flight clothes. Looks down really far too. Turns 360 degrees. Tilts left. Tilts right. To articulate the shoulders, you lift the pauldron, and then you pull out the shoulder a bit. And then you can get a full range of motion like that. Also double jointed elbow. Hand rotates freely. Nice range of motion. So the waist articulation is a bit disappointing. You know how you can pull out the waist of an Iron Man toy to get some really nice twists? Unfortunately, you can't do that with this one. At least I don't think you can. If someone in the comments knows better, they can let me know. But I tried to pull it up and nothing really happened. It felt like it was going to break. And in the booklet, there's no mention of that feature either. So there's very little turn you can get. The ab crunch is nice though. Very nice ab crunch. Unfortunately, the turn is very limited, as you can see. For the legs, you simply lift this flap up, and then you can kick forward. Of course, you can also kick back. Double jointed knee, very beautiful. And very nice toe and ankle articulation. You can also lift the chest plate out, and then you can see the inner workings of the armor. Looks really cool, nice piece of detail. You can also lift these flaps here. And if I turn it around, you can see I can lift these flaps here. And on the legs, this is really cool. You can lift the leg flaps, and very nice details inside. And from what I remember, these light up to a nice blue color. So we're going to look at that later. But it's very cool to have these features. Overall, I'm very happy with the articulation. However, I am a bit disappointed about the waist. Getting the Tony sculpt on is pretty easy. Simply put the collar on. And there you go. Tony's head rotates really nicely. And looks pretty awesome. Here's Mark III 2.0 and paint me like one of your French Mark III's pose. And as you can see, the articulation is pretty good. Unfortunately, as mentioned, the waist articulation isn't great, so I can't twist the waist too much. However, you can appreciate the paint apps. They're very beautiful. I like the dark red finish. Has a more matte finish than usual Iron Man toys, and that really makes you appreciate the details more, because the shininess usually is distracting. But you can appreciate the armor much more with a matte finish, with a darker finish. And there's lots of wear around it too. There's some wear here on the chest and on the thighs. I love that you can do multiple looks with Mark III 2.0. So here he is with all the LED lights on. You can see the arc reactors lit up, his hand with the repulsor blaster, and of course, the head. His legs are also lit up, so we're going to have a closer look at that in a second. But let me just turn off the lights just to give you a better idea of the LEDs. Looks very cool in the dark. Look how bright that center light is. I just wish the lights would last longer on these batteries. Wanted to quickly mention the innovations in the battery system. For example, at the back, you just have to press a button and you can turn the light on the chest, which is really cool. And on the biceps, you don't have to use your fingernails to lift the plate to insert the batteries. It's magnetic. Go back with the LED lights themselves. Look at the back, at the ties, the blue lights look gorgeous. You can also do a really cool battle damage look. So you've got the battle damage pauldrons on, battle damage chest plate, battle damage faceplate. It's really nice to have these 4 battle damage parts. For a while I thought that Hot Toys is going to start doing separate battle damage versions of their toys after Mark 85, but thankfully they are back to including battle damage pieces for their new Iron Man toys. However, I do wish that there were a few more battle damage pieces, especially around the top of the body. Still, it's very nice to have, and it's a really cool look. Another cool look you can do with the battle damage parts is just take out the head sculpt, put on the Tony Stark sculpt, and take the really battle damage head and put it in his hand. And that's a really nice pose too for your detop shelf. Of course, you can also do a more weaponized look. So he's got some weapons on his shoulders, as you can see, and on his forearms. Looks really cool. Again, time for some size comparisons, and here he is. On the right is Mark 1, the reissue by Hot Toys, and as you can see, Mark 1 is a bit undersized, but it's still a very nice toy to have. Also play value, and these two look pretty good together. It's nice to see the evolution of Mark 1 to Mark 3. Here he is now at Mark 4, and it's nice to see the evolution of Mark 3 to Mark 4. They're very similar looking armors, but the panel lines are a bit more defined. The armor itself is a bit more defined, more modern looking. The paint apps are a bit richer on Mark 4, but I still like Mark 3. Here he is now with Mark 5 from Iron Man 2. This is known as the suitcase armor. It's a bit taller, lankier, very unique paint applications, very modern and technologically advanced armors compared to Iron Man Mark 3. Now we have Mark 7 on the right, very, very bulky armor, full of firepower, very much like a War Machine type Iron Man. I love this armor, I love the paint apps on it, and you can see the evolution from Mark 3 to Mark 7 is huge, and it's very bulky by comparison, and much more technologically advanced. Jumping forward many years, this is Mark 85. This is the final armor that Tony Stark wore, and you can see the huge difference between Mark 3 and Mark 85. Mark 85 is much sleeker, much more technologically advanced, and much more alien-like compared to Mark 3, which is a bit more blocky looking and a bit more comic booky looking. My final score for Mark 3 2.0 is going to be 5 out of 5 stars. There are some flaws with this figure. For one, and this is something I haven't mentioned yet, the ankles are a bit weaker than other Iron Man toys. Unfortunately, the waist articulation is a bit lacking, and the battery cells don't last very long. However, the positives drown the minor negatives. This is a beautiful looking armor with fantastic paint apps. Looks very much like the film. There are loads of fun accessories, and the diorama and the head sculpt look great. In addition, there are some nice innovations to the battery insertion and activation system. And overall, I feel like Hot Toys Iron Man Mark III 2.0 is a must-have for Iron Man collectors. That's it, guys. That's my review. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you can tune in again to Noman Reviews for more. Hope you can tap that like button and subscribe button. Hope you stick around for some fun poses by Iron Man Mark III 2.0 Diecast.